G'day everyone, welcome to Holmakra, and I hope you all are having a good day. Now, what have we got to do today? And in fact, I hope I've got audio today. G'day Steel and Cranky. Now have I got audio today? Excellent. Well, that's a step forward. I think I figured out what my problem was. Although I managed to put it in my headphones now, which is driving me bonkers. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you are both having an excellent day. Today's plans to do a bit of this baling. If we can get the pickup down. And then sell some timber, or the furniture. And we've got about 200,000 litres of furniture to sell. And then we can buy a new field, which will be the plan where we put the diesel production. So that's kind of the rough order of business. We'll also plough this field and get it ready to put the canola in a couple of months. So all good. Thank you both for fitting me into your day. It's very much appreciated. It's actually it's an odd feeling. I wouldn't normally be playing a game at this time in the day. So to sort of get out of bed, have some breakfast, and then start to play is a bit weird. But the things we do for time zones. What maps do you play, Cranky? I've got a fair idea of Scott's patterns from his streams. What's happening here? Why are we not picking up? Managed to turn it off. That's always a good plan. Let's get that strip. I was thinking, Scott, the other day you made the point that my bales will roll down the hill here. I wondered if I should put a fence at least halfway down to have a bit of a catch. Yeah, that makes sense. That Red River map's enormous. I was looking at Iowa. It's on my list of candidates potentially for this theme. I'm kind of thinking of a scenario where I start on a farm manager, but potentially just owning the mill and some trucks, and kind of work my way out from there. Okay, that's working a bit better. Asada. Are you going to do one of Rusty's challenges, Scott? Griffin's certainly one of my current favourites. I'm really enjoying the series that I've got going on there. It's actually been, only new to it, but it's been a bit of a challenge to not want to sort of get ahead, and I can't keep the editing up as fast as I'd like to develop some of the ideas that I want to play out in the game, so it's forcing a bit of patience. Okay, let's pop down and sell some of this furniture. Filled one up. Got plenty of boards piled up there. They're for sale probably next month. We might get to them if we roll a day. We'll see how we're going for work. Where am I going? Very much unskilled at talking and doing something at the same time. We'll overload that. It's a bit of a boost. Dogs just come in, can't figure out why I'm talking to myself. Our resident furball is a Kelpie cross. He was a rescue. He's a bit anxious. In a perfect world, he would have been a farm dog, I think. There we go, 114 grand, that's handy. I think we've got 4 more of those. I'm gonna do something with all these pallets too. It will auto load the pallets. I don't think it would. Strange. It just won't. Now it won't auto load the furniture, I suspect. So no mixed loads. We're looking forward to it, Scott. I think the creative process is what it is. When you're ready, you're ready. For the first time, I kind of get what the musicians talk about in terms of their ability to put out songs and that sort of thing. You can't manufacture the ideas, at least not at the quality you want. They either come or they don't. And then I guess as you get better at it, you find ways that help you trigger them. I've been enjoying learning how the editors, or how the editor works. I use DaVinci Resolve and it's got so much function, most of which is completely foreign. And it's a world that I'm not at all familiar with, so even the terminology, I kind of start out with the real basics just to figure out how to move forward. Okay, we're starting to get there now. I think the block of land, we'll have a look while that fills. So this is the map. We're up here. And this road is a hill. It's pretty steep here, and then it sort of flattens with a bit more of a, you can see the contours with a more gradual rise. And then you go up a pinch here. And then it's pretty much downhill. I'd like ultimately to own this block. We go to farmland. That one, but that's 700. But this one in here is just under 400. And if I get the highlight off, I don't know if that comes through. It's flattish just here. So I'm thinking just in terms of positioning, currently, we own a sawmill down here and there's a wood sell point down here. So I figure if we put a sawmill and a little industrial area here, that'll be a good spot. The meadow's up here, so it'll be a short sort of track to pull the canola down to the diesel production. And we can put a spinnery somewhere in here as well, which is fairly close for the wool. So that's kind of the general thought process. We're full. 54,000 litres of furniture strikes me as heavy. So we need, let's do the maths. We need 400 grand for the land. The sawmill I'm looking at is only 40 or so. I think the diesel production, we'll have a look in a minute. Turned out the one that Space Cub was suggesting I already have in my list, so at some point I must have decided it was worth a try. So that's the one we'll definitely go for. I think that's about 100 and, let's say 120. Just been letting this carpenter's stockpile furniture pretty much since my first year on the map. Yes, oh, wrong button. So, productions, right here. I also wonder if I should do a biogas plant at some point. I have not played one on any map. Kind of in my mind, they're not common in Australia. In my mind, they're a sewage factory, and sort of the concept of sewage farm simulator didn't appeal overly. Hence I'm in two minds about the pumps and mods, pumps and hoses DLC. Now where are we? So there's the sawmill I'm looking at. So that's just a little, oh, it's 50,000, there we go. So that looked pretty neat and tidy, and we'll sit up in the hill and we'll carve a spot out of the forest for it. And have I gone over it? Oh, that's another one. Even that might. Pallets, packing. Open air gardens. Field products. Or it's here somewhere. There it is. It's 170. So it's constructed in the heating plant. But we'll feed it with canola and it'll give us diesel. 170, it's pretty expensive just to make diesel, but I think we'll do it anyway. Oops. That's it. No, that wasn't it. 54,000 would be full. The other thing we need is a wheel loader. I'm thinking for here in the yard. I've tried various. I've got a telehandler that I use in the logging production, but now that we're a bit better established financially, I'm thinking that we keep it up with the logging rather than driving it backwards and forwards. So we might look at those later as well. Feels a bit like Christmas to discover I had this much furniture in this factory. Let's have a look at how that's going. So one more load. Well, this will be a full load and then we'll be pretty much done. That's out of wood too. So there's some logging in our future. Just out of curiosity, what's the video quality like? I reduced the bit rate from last time and now everything's in the green, which I think is the plan. I don't seem to be dropping any frames and I'm running about 15,000 or 15 meg. It should be full HD. Okay, well, maybe that's means I've got my settings somewhere about when they need to be. found OBS very helpful, but a little bit confusing. I must be reading parts of it a bit wrong. It doesn't always seem to tell me it's doing what I think it's doing. And I'm getting better at watching other YouTube creators who profess to be experts on OBS and streaming and those things. And getting better at picking the ones that actually have no idea how it works. Okay, so you're 9K 60 because your quality looks terrific. So I could even drop it back a fraction. It might be something I try if I play a bigger map, because I notice we'll do a run through a Middleborough in a couple of streams time, and my PC has to work a lot harder there. Come on, pick that up. Okay, so this will give us the cash we need for the minute. This coming weekend's a big weekend on the Australian motorsport calendar. I don't know if either of you follow it from afar, but there's a circuit a few hours drive west of Sydney called Bathurst, and there's a 1,000-kilometre race on Sunday, which has been running there for the last 50, or at least 50 years. I don't know how many they're up to. Oh, now where were we? Might leave this here for the minute. Actually, we're at best price. We might as well sell it all, I guess. Where's furniture? $2,100. That is best price. Let's sell it. Yeah, as a kid, Bathurst was kind of this extreme event, and I grew up, I mean, in Australia, if you had any interest in motorsport, you either were a blue man or a red man. So blue being Ford and red being Holden, which ultimately was bought by General Motors. But they both produced V8 vehicles, locally designed and produced initially. and Bathurst was the test. It's a mountain. It's a terrific, well, terrifying course. I've driven it in a road car because most of the year it's open as a road course, and the speed limit across the top of the mountain is 60 k's. There's hairpins and switchbacks, and to see them drive a touring car across there is just extraordinary. Yes, the V8s, they got their own sound. In a past life, I had a Holden V8 modelled on it was the kind of the showroom version without all of the special race features, but nonetheless, it was a manual V8. Completely impractical, but great to drive. Heavy and somewhat thirsty on the fuel. And if you stuck your boot in it turning right, you'd do a 360. Quite nostalgic. That was actually a company car, which made it even better, and they go faster. Not quite as fast as rentals, but okay, I think that will do us. So let's go buy this block. So let's grab that. Have we got... Oh, we might take you up. I don't really want to be... Maybe I do need the trailer. We can do a load of logs up there. Tune TVR. It's a mile to the gallon, yeah. I can imagine that. Oh, I gotta get some of these olives too. Yeah, can I get out of here without destroying the crop? Just not quite. When I planted the sunflowers last week, I forgot to leave a road out of that little piece. Yeah, about 10 years ago, I flirted with I had a V8 5 Series Beamer, and I flirted with swapping it for the then current Holden special vehicle, kind of road safe equivalent of the cars they were running at Bathurst. So it was a 6.5 litre V8 with a whole bunch of Tom Walkinshaw special add-ons. A mate of mine in the UK actually has one marketed under a brand called Senator. Yeah, so the area we've just bought is in our right here. And so I was thinking of putting the sawmill somewhere just like this, where it's flat and near the junction, so it's easy to get logging trucks in and around, and I don't have to use too much of my land initially for roads. If we run around the centre, you can see it rises away from us, but there's this roadside kind of largish verge before it kicks up round the corner here. But compared to some of the terrain, it's pretty flat. So I'm thinking we might put the sawmill down back here. Audio V8. I always found that my only experience of American cars really is rentals, which are always hideous. But in the US, back in the late 80s, I would take a T-Bird whenever they were available. And where are we? I did try to, with a mate of mine, we were there for a month in 1990. And I tried to hire a V8 Mustang, and we drove it out of the lot. Well, what we thought was a V8 Mustang. It didn't sound like it when we started the engine, and we get about, I don't know, 500 metres down the road, and my mate says to me, there's no way this is a V8. So we popped the bonnet in the street, and sure enough, half the engine was missing. There's this big cavity and this dinky little 4-cylinder thing. So we turned around, took it back to the dealer, it was a Hertz shop. I had a couple of mates that went down that past Cranky. 136 is quick. The only place I've been quicker is in Germany. Now we saw that guy, didn't we? It's annoying. I reckon it should show you the formulas, or you should have a button you could click to know what the actual formulas for these packs are. thinking we just drop that in there. Actually, the closer we put it to that little observation tower, the better. Before we do that, let's turn the markers on. Not used it before. So, okay, so we need access, good access to the ends. So something like that. That seems to have dropped it in all right. Let's see what we got. $110,000. It's slow. What's that? Yeah. 8,000 a month. Oh well, it'll tick away. So we can landscape that in a bit later. Can't see all my screen. Which... I'm going to ask you which bit you can't see. Is it the headshot or... Oh, I see. It's... No? What is causing that? I didn't notice either. So what have I done? Because that should be full screen. Let's give me a moment. Thank you for spotting that, Cranky. What was that? It scaled it for some reason. It was lower, right side and bottom was being cropped. So that should be better. Did that fix it? Oh, maybe I need to do that. No? How do I... That's better. Okay, good. Okay. Won't worry about landscaping that for the minute. Now, we've got somewhere for logs. We're going to put this mill down. I don't really want to mess with those trees because they're annoying to cut. Let's have a look at this. Where is the diesel production? Is okay, so if we carved a section out around here somewhere, don't have to take too many trees out for that. So what I'm gonna need, let's do a couple more laps of bales. I noticed on a couple of streams, Scott, you had Dr. Pepper. Funny, it always makes me smile. Dr. Pepper was never available in Australia until probably 20 years ago, so the turn of the century. And when it did come, it didn't do very well, because growing up in the 70s, the primary additive to kids' medicine was a weird cherry flavour. And so if I have Dr. Pepper, all I think of is medicine. It just tastes hideous to me. And lots of kids of that era. It makes perfect sense, Cranky. It can't quite come to beer at, what is it, 8, no, almost 9 o'clock in the morning. I know there's plenty of folks that there's never a bad time for a beer, but beer and my cornflakes was never a thing for me. It may be un-Australian, but that's how it is. Okay, we're getting through this, albeit slowly. Mark Thor made me smile a few weeks back. He had that party. And at one point, I think he was drinking Foster's, which of course, no, I can't ever remember buying Foster's in Australia. It was always that export brute that nobody here really drank. Yeah, my godsons, well, they're all in their 20s now, but in Texas, as teenagers, drank copious amounts of Dr. Pepper. And my mate who lived in Austin was a convert. Gonna say, he's got the light strength there, Cranky. Forex is for those Queenslanders because they can't spell beer. And when it's hot and humid, you'll drink anything. My dad used to tell a story and he visited a few Outback Queensland mining districts. These are pretty rugged parts of the world, barely sort of scrabbles, and just a handful of blokes usually, and some beat up equipment trying to scratch something out of the dirt and looking for sapphires, and some areas opal and those sorts of things. Anyway, beer's more reliable than water, and they use it kind of for everything, so including measurement. So, you know, how far is it into town? Oh, that'd be a good half dozen, mate. Now, if you want to go to Brisbane, you'll need a couple of slabs. Yep, 48. I'm trying to remember to stop when the full alarm goes. But of course that means I stop at about 90% and then I drive, and by the time I'm driving it's full. Let's get that corner. No worries, Scott. Well, it sounds like a perfectly reasonable estimation system. I'm pretty sure he'll be consistent in his consumption rate. Depending on the type of beer, you might not be in much of a state to use the barbie, but I've done it again. Concentration span of a flea. I do like the haze that they managed to generate on this map. I reckon it really helps. Get over there. We can just get this baled up. It'll be good. Only a few more rows. What part of the UK are you, Cranky? The only unfortunate thing I think with the map, I mean, it's always easier to critique the map maker when you haven't had to do all the work, but just think, given the terrain, they could have done a little more on the map boundaries rather than just this paper thin tree line that falls off a cliff. Okay. I've been to Manchester once, for no particular reason. Kind of seem to recall a business meeting there at one stage. More extensive touring of the UK is in the plan broadly for your next summer. Maybe into autumn, who knows. Is that far from the Lake District? Because the Lake District is a kind of a broad area is on our list to visit. Okay. Well, in Australian distance terms, that would make it kind of right next door. Now, where's that last strip? I'm not going to space these piles I've left all over the place. And if we're coming to visit the Lake District, what's a good period of time to stay? Is it kind of a weekend thing, or is it a week, 2 weeks? My wife's a pretty keen photographer, so she can find endless things to take pictures of that make their way into family calendars at Christmas. Yeah, we like walking, as long as it's a day trip. It's my idea. The perfect place is where you can drive to somewhere, walk, and then when you've had enough walking, jump back in the car and come back for a nice hot shower and a great meal. I reckon that just about does it for the baling. So we might duck down. I'm pretty sure I've got a semi-trailer that'll load. We can get these off the field. Welcome back, Scott. There were no dramatic changes. I just managed to finish enough of this baling. We'll park up here. Just want to get this bale out. Maybe I won't. That would be cheato. Right. So, where did we... I think this is the bale trailer. Let's find out. So is the video you're editing, Scott, your next installment of the holler? Because I'm kind of keen to meet some more of those drummers. That dashboard's a bit extreme, isn't it? That sounds unduly healthy. Salad season's approaching. The weather right at the minute. My part of the world can't decide if it's spring or still winter. Yes, I'm learning you can fix quite a few mistakes, or just a little less than perfect things if you get creative in the edit process. Where do I have to go? That's not the one I want. I want the next one. McLeod parked his semi in the middle of the road. Hang on, boys, this is bumpy. Oh, we can pick up a bale, I hope. We'll find out if it's an auto load. It is. There we go. Yeah, that's something I haven't done at all, Scott. I haven't the voice track and moved it around, but I haven't added any. I've added music. And I've been experimenting with timing and fast forward and those sorts of things. But another bale. I get there. Yes. Yeah, I separate 2 tracks and then I add music if I use music as a third. I think that's what was the audio problem last week, is that I think I was still using my recording settings, and so OBS shows my mic as working in the mixer, but it isn't actually outputting it to the stream because the stream only wants a single track. What we're going to try and do with these bales. Pick all these up before we chase the ones down the hill. It was kind of accidental that I started out with a separate voice. Accident, semi-planned. I figured the bit that I was most likely to screw up was the voiceover. So if I had it separate, then I could more easily fix it or cover it up with something. And because of the nature of kind of how the game works and everything else, the syncing between your voice and the game is less sensitive. It's not like there's any lip movement to watch, whereas game sounds are important. So if I don't mess with those, that works better. At least that was my thought process. Okay, so they're picked up. I really have quite a few bales in the forest down there. We won't be getting all of those. Let's see if we can do this without falling off the hill. Just well, the vehicle's a bit bigger, but it does remind me a bit of four-wheel driving in the high country here in Oz. How many can we fit on? I had a mate who managed to roll this. I had a Land Cruiser down a slope not dissimilar to this. Get up there. Just clip that tree. Got it. That's probably full, is it? Let's have a look. I think it might be. 26. Find out. No. Get 4 more on. Oh, he may be tricky. Look away, gentlemen. I'm not going to get the forklift just for this guy. Can I get in the truck? Bizarre. Okay, is that all the bales? I suspect there's a couple more floating around. There's one there. One down there. If we go down there, will we get back out? Maybe. $30 bales, full truck. That'll keep the sheep going for a while. Where will we put them? We got our first wool pallet. Let's unload. Transporting. Is it Y? Maybe it's mouse. It is mouse. I don't do it there. That works. Good day. Almost neat. Why am I not able to get in a vehicle? Interesting. How's that beer going, Cranky? You need a top up? Don't you? Let's go and do those olives. Just the way it should be. I worked with a Manchurian not closely, but I travelled with him a couple of times. Boy, could he drink. Only bloke I know had a beer tap in his office, at home office, had a keg and a little station installed. Seemed to think it was the sort of accessory every bloke needed. He was a few years older than me, but one of the guys that you recognised if you're paying attention. You never wanted to go head to head with, because he would always seem to show up bright and chirpy first thing in the morning, completely independent of what happened the night before. So I put a few olive trees down this boundary just to try and break up the wallpaper a little bit. It won't load them by the looks. Interesting. Oh, they will. Well, you're lucky, Cranky, because they're horrid. These olives. No, they're alright. Just slow. Okay. What is interfering? Something I've added has bound to the E key. Alt-A. Okay, that's a mystery. Functions. Enter is still A. No idea. Whatever it is, I can't get back in the vehicle. Ah, I haven't encountered it before, Cranky. But that makes perfect sense. Mind you, I don't use auto load a tremendous amount. Let's see here. So we want to X, I thought. Oh, I see X. Added auto load. So I can't unfold the trailer while auto loads on. Wait a second, it said. Can I get into that vehicle? I can. Yeah, I think it might be because I use that very rarely. That's probably like the second trailer load. And I don't have that on any other map. It's kind of on. Arm down. See, I can get out, but I can't get back in. Which is very annoying. Right. Let's take you up the hill. Well, that's heavy. Looked straight before. Clearly I wasn't. Come on. You can do it. Low range, low range. There you go. No, they're up now. They were. Eagle eyes. Cranky eagle eyes. How many will it pick up? It's got the trailer. Thank you. Let's try this a different way. Oops. What key did that? No. That one. I don't want you to pick the lock. Universe. And let's do this the other way. There we go. Now I can't pick it up at all. Come on, back here. It was a bit messy. Do this without hitting the boom on the blades. Tip you up. It. Only trouble with the 3.5 ton weight on the back is it pulls you down the hill. Helps me overbalancing, but doesn't help the braking. Those little things I learned from Mr. Sealy P that made a huge difference. Very useful little device, this guy. If not entirely practical. You're gonna get in there. Come on, push you up. Oh, goodness. Bugger. Yep. He's quite adept with them too. Come on. Just couldn't landscape out that little bump at the top of this hill. Do not slide. 99% of the time, heavy objects have no friction except when you want to move them. Get over there. There we go. Yeah, I was trying that. Oh no, I was trying with the bottom rack. Where are we? Do that way. It's extraordinary. Let's just lift them in. Right up there with bale physics. Tractors love climbing over round bales rather than pushing them forward. There we go. Thank you, Cranky. Let's drop you back on there. Dead. Will you fit on as well? Guess we're going to need you up the hill. And we'll bring the tractor up with the plough. Every home needs a bobcat. Come on. Zed. A couple of straps would be a good idea. And away we go. As you can see, this hill's challenging, deceptively steep. In my first season on here, I only had a, I don't remember what the vehicle, I was pulling with the, might have been the tractor, the stayer, and I was struggling to make 5 mile an hour up here with the low loader. Yeah, that load's heavy. It's, well, the weight on the back of the lever is 3.5 tons alone, so not entirely realistic at all. It kind of looks cool. I wouldn't have loaded it that way either. I would have put the weight slightly forward. We'll get that. It's looking a bit worse for wear. Got 24 hours on it, so it's done a few miles on this map. And the paint seems to wear off real quick. I always find it amusing in their wear patterns. Most of the modders put wear on the creases, which is fair enough, but almost none of them have scratches in the front, like in the plane panels. So you end up with this perfect surface. So that edge is not too bad, but like the doors should have a big scratch across the middle of it, for instance, because there's no way you wouldn't have done that in this. Almost there. So what do you guys think? Should I put a biogas plant on this map or not? Does that kind of fit with the develop or the emerging themes? I don't anticipate running slurry or digestate. I don't anticipate cows even. Almost there. Success. We want you. Why are you turned around? What is the setting? Is it Z? No. It's not X. B turns on the winch. Why? No. There are the controls on there. You. Okay, I'll give up. How did I change the seating position? Wonder if that's tied into the problem I'm having. This is so annoying. We won't do any logging today. Just be organised. Tito, no. Well, let's have a look, see if I can see what the setting is. Look right, look left. Change driving, left shift B. There we go. No, that took, oh yes, took me out of the vehicle. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good call, Frankie. The other thing I was thinking of trying was just beside this mill here to put the mobile wood chipper. I saw, well, in fact, Mr. CLP is using it on Griffin, and I haven't used that before. And because those awkward trees are quite close, you could sort of drop that in there and just run those through. I don't necessarily need to clear all the trees out. I just want to make some space. And the oak trees do look quite nice. The Devourer is probably not a bad upgrade generally, rather than using the stump grinder on the skid steer. It's a bit quicker. So let's drop the Tajin off. Back and get the plow. Got plenty of fuel, you're all maintained. You mentioned those, Mark had a beehive last time. Does he have an itch page? Right, where am I going here? There. Marilla's Discord. I do not know that one. I'll go hunting. Time flies while you're having fun. Got about 5 minutes to go. Thank you. I don't know if I've got a it's the beers, Cranky. It's the beers. Scott even had time for his salad. Oh, found a bale. Can you get up there? Probably not. You idiot. It was almost an uh-oh. I remember a nice brisket smoker out near Marble Falls. It used to make some really good brisket to go with salad. Yes, I did find a bale. I'm guessing there's more than one around, but now let's see. Do I have to define a course? I might have one. Oops. I do not have one by the looks. So what we will do, turn that off, turn that on. Yeah, I think it's time for another coffee and some raisin toast. Do I have to create field? I probably do. Might do the trick. So we'll just run around the edge here to get a boundary for course play, and that'll give us something to save and be ready for next time. It's been a productive day. I put the time back to 1 times. I never usually play on 1 times. Is that sort of like a half-height building? So it kind of looks like it's built by a midget. Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly the place. All I know was on the way from Austin to Marble Falls, because we had to go through Marble Falls to get to my mate's house at Granite Shoals, which is the other side of LBJ. And his wife at the time always instructed us to pick up a brisket, which was never a problem. The issue was, do we buy a half of one and eat it on the way, or then have one to present her with? But then that kind of usually entailed stopping in for some beers. Oh, another bale. I mean, we always stopped. We always needed a couple of cases of Shiner. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been great having you here. It seems to have worked reasonably well, so I'm getting my head around the technology. This field's a lot steeper than you think. Going to be interesting to run a harvester on it. Oh well, we'll see what happens. We'll certainly have to work across the slope. And I may have to cut a new road to actually be able to get it here. Or a bigger truck with a bigger flatbed. Right, that looks like field. So how do I do this? I've got to turn that off, don't I? And then it'll, yes. And then if I get out of there, go here. Can rename it to Top Meadow. Every good field should have a name. 3 hectares. That's a decent size. So with that in mind, we will leave it there, gentlemen. It's been a great pleasure. I thank you very much for joining me, and look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be back next week. This pattern seems to work for me, and I really appreciate your support, and hopefully we'll find some others again on Monday night. So thanks for watching. See ya.